Boker or Masechet Gittin Daf 55a1 says Mishnah. We're starting 4 lines down in the Mishnah. He'id Rabbi Yochanan ben Gudgeda. Rabbi Yochanan ben Gudgeda comes and he's testifying ala chereshet, on the chereshet. She's avia, so she's a deaf mute. The father got her married when she was a ketana. Okay, that's why it's chal mina Torah, right? Because she was a ketana. Shehi yotzav beget, that she goes out with a get, meaning that even though she's a chereshet, and usually a chereshet, right? Usually they don't have that. They don't have mind, but she could receive her get, right? Why? Because since a woman gets divorced against her will, so therefore, because we don't need her will in order to get her divorce, so therefore she doesn't have to have that to do with the divorce over here, right? Or Ktana Israel, that again, the father, right, that she was got married to a Kohen through the mother or brother, meaning, remember, Doraita is only through the father when she's a Ktana. If the father passes away, and now the mother or brother get her married, it's only midrabbanan, that marriage. Okay, this is before she's gdola, right? She's a ktana still. She's still allowed to eat truma midrabbanan, right? Truma drabbanan, because of this marriage. Meta, and if she dies, bala yorsha, her husband will inherit her. Third testimony, vela marish agazul shebinao bebira. Right, this is, by the way, takanat marish. Takanat marish is that if you have a big beam that was stolen, and then they put it in a big building, so therefore yitol et tamav, you only have to pay back the money. Why? Because of takanat hashavim, which means like this: imagine somebody steals a beam, and now he builds a big palace, right? And now all of a sudden, we saw this many times, and all of a sudden I come and tell you, by the way, take it out. Take it out. I'm going to destroy my entire house to take out the beam to give it back to you. No. Takanat hashavim, takanat that we want people to return, right? To do teshuvah and to return these stolen objects. Just give back the money. You don't have to actually give back the item. Next testimony, the last one. Al chatata gezulah, on a chatata was stolen, shalom nodal rabim, right? That was not known to the public, and therefore they came and they brought it. She'i mechaperet, it's also going to be mechaper on the gazlan, because of tikkun hamizbeach. Says the Gemara. Amar Rava comes and he says, Meduto shel Yochanan ben Gudgeda, from the testimony of Rabbi Yochanan ben Gudgeda. Amar leidim. Imagine right now a person comes and he tells the edim, not in front of his wife. Look at this get that I'm going to give to her. Chazar ve'amar la, and then he comes and he tells his wife, Kinsi shtarchov zeh, take this shtarchov, right? And he gives it to her without actually telling her it's a get. Meaning, imagine right now there are the two people here. Right, Mr. Perez, right, and Mr. Lewi. Yeah, and what happens is that they're watching. Somebody comes to them and he says, "Look, this is a get."
Wife
he
doesn't
folds
hear
up.
that.
The wife doesn't know about it. He folds it up and he comes and he tells the wife in front of the two witnesses, by the way, you want to take this debt document? So she doesn't know. She thinks, okay, she's going to collect the debt. It's a receipt. So she comes, she takes it, and now she just received her get.
They're going to backtrack.
Says the Gemara, right? She's divorced. It's considered that she got her get. So says the Gemara, right? 1 second. Doesn't Rabbi Yochanan ben Gudgeda say that you don't need her dat? And therefore, even a chereshet that got married 100% to kiddushin, right? She should be divorced, even though she doesn't have dat. We don't need her dat also as well, right? Which means that you see from here that you don't need that, right? So he comes and he says, Pshita. Well, obviously, according to Rabbi Yochanan ben Gudgeda, a woman does not need that and Girushin. So what was the chidush of Rava then? What is Rava coming to be mechadesh? In our case, we don't need her to know about it, but she doesn't need to know about it. So says the Gemara, I would have thought to say, Kevan de Amar, since he says kinsit shtarchov zeh, right? Take the shtarchov batule batle, right? You're going to be matel. Kamashvalan comes teach you in ita de batle. If the kavanah was to be matel the get, la edim avamar lehu. He says to the edim, he would have actually said these things. Hayde kaman hachi. So the reason why he said that is mishum kisufa, because of the embarrassment, which means that really be'emet, right? What happened was exactly, but like this, we would have had a havamina that if he's saying now it's a shtarchov, we would have had a havamina that really be'emet he's mevatel the get, right? So the truth is though that we don't say that
because he told witnesses.
Because he told the witnesses. So then what be'emet happened he doesn't have, he's embarrassed to tell it to her. Right? Imagine right now a person comes and he tells her, I'm giving you a get. And then, it's zelo naim. So what happens? He says, take this receipt.
She gets her
took it.
Kasuma.
Right? 1 minute. So she takes a receipt. Right? And then, so now at least he doesn't feel.
Get it through WhatsApp.
What?
Get through WhatsApp.
No, you can't give it to her. You have to actually give her the paper. But the way that he gave it to her was doing it in a way that it's minimizing the embarrassment that he has towards her. Okay, 2 dots. Okay, now even though it's a ketubah, but remember this is gittin. There's no ketubah. We're not talking about the ketubah. Right? You have to stay focused, Richard. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Says the Mishnah. Right? Val ktana bat Israel or ktana bat Israel, that she got married to a Kohen through the mother of the brother, so she's allowed to eat truma. The ilu chereshet lo achla. He says what, a chereshet cannot eat it. Only a bat Israel could eat, but a chereshet cannot eat truma. My tama, what's reasoning? Gezerah shema yachil cheresh mechereshet. No, it's a gezerah. Maybe a cheresh, which is a Kohen cheresh, will give a chereshet to eat. Right? Now, if you're going to permit, if you're going to come and you're going to permit, right? If you're going to come and you're going to permit, right, such a case, right? So he comes and he says, it's not going to be a kinyan gamu. Because a cheresh cannot acquire 100%. So if he could not acquire 100%, right? So it's not going to actually help. Okay. So if it doesn't help, so how could he give her a truma? Right? So he comes, he says like this. He says, "Veleichu." So let him eat it. Right? He says, "Katan ochel nevelotu." He's a katan, which is ochel nevelotu, which means like this. A cheresh is like a person that's not 100% there. He's deaf mute. So he's not 100% there. What do you want from the guy? He's not there. So answers the Gemara, Gezerah shami achil cheresh bepikachat. He says, no, it's a gezerah. Maybe a cheresh, right, will give a pikachat. That's the problem. Because if he's a cheresh and he's giving to a pikachat, the pikachat, she knows. So it's not anymore a katan ochel nevelot, but she's not a katana ochel nevelot. She's a normal woman. So she's going to come and start eating truma. It's going to become a problem. So says the Gemara, fine, but let her eat truma d'Rabbanan. Velechu b'truma d'Rabbanan. Right? Why? Because at the end of the day, you could still give it to because Takla Chachamim, it is going to be a good marriage. So answers the Gemara, no. If you're already eating Truma D'Rabbanan, you're going to eat Truma D'Oraita. That's going to be a big problem as well. Yeah, exactly. So says the Gemara in the 2 dots, what was the other case? Al Marisha Gazul Shebinao. You came and a person stole a beam and then he built a big palace out of it. Tana Rabbanan, we learned to the Braita. Gazal Marishu beno bebira. Bet Shammai only Bet Shammai says mikakeh kol bira. You have to take down the entire bira, the entire palace. Machzir Marishu beno you have to give it back. Bet Hillel says no. Elon the Marishu you only give back the money. Mishumta kanata shavim because then so our Mishnah is like Bet Hillel. Next 2 dots al chatata gezula. Amar ula comes and he says Dvar Torah ben odea ben odea eno mechaperet. By the way, you should know mideoraita a chatat which is gezula from the rabbim, whether it's known or not known ben odea ben non odea. It's not going to be mechaper la gazlan. That means even if right now it's known that the migzal had yush, meaning the one that was stolen from had yush, he gave up hope, it's still not good for the gazlan. My tama was reasoning, yush kadi lo kani, because yush by itself does not acquire it for you. So why do they say lo neda mechaperet, that if the guy does not know, so it is mechaperet, shelo yu kohanim matzavim, so the kohanim should not be upset that they ate basar isur be'ema that was not holy. Which is chulin shenishchatu ba'dazara. That means the rabbis made a special institution that it is going to be mechaper in order that the kohanim don't, start getting depressed that they ate chulin, which was brought in the azara. So Amri le Rabbanan Lula says Rabbanan Turugla the Anam Ibn Tikkun Mizbeach. One second, we weren't talking about the kohanim, because this sounds that we're doing this entire tikkun for the kohanim. We never were talking about tikkun of the kohanim. We were talking about tikkun for the mizbeach. Elmaleh, he tells them, right? Elmaleh tells them, Kevin the Kohanim at Tzevim, since the Kohanim are Tzevim, in some Mizbeach Batel. It comes out that the Mizbeach is going to be Batel. So therefore, that's why it is Takanat Mizbeach. Because basically, if the Kohanim are going to start getting depressed that they just brought a Korban, which was Chulin Shenishchutu Ba'azara, they're going to be so depressed that afterwards what's going to happen is that they're not going to be fully there. You understand? Like they're not going to be all happy. Okay. Says the Gemara, Rav Yehuda comes and he says, Dvar Torah Ben nodea or ben lo nodea mechaperet, it's going to be mechaperet. My tama, what's the reasoning? Yush kadi kani, it is koneh. Meaning yush, according to the shita, is going to be koneh. Right? Nunhiamud bet, 55b. Matam amru, so why do they say nodea na mechaperet, that if they know about it, it's not going to be mechaper? Shelo yomru mizbeach ochel nevelot. Gezelot, sorry. Because we don't want that the people are going to say that the mizbeach accepts things which are stolen. So because of that, we're going to say that once it's known, it's not good anymore. Even though, technically speaking, it was yush, right? And yush by itself is koneh. But we don't want this, the people start talking, the mizbeach, you could bring stolen things on the mizbeach. We don't like that. So bishma leula, it's good according to ula, hainu diktani chatat, that's what we brought on a chatat. But according to Rabbi Yehuda, why do we only speak about a chatat? Right? Even if it's going to be an olah. Right? But if you're going to say the reason why it's shelo yomru, that the mizbeach ochel gezelot, why only a chatat, even an olah? Right? But if it's going to be according to ula, that it's because of the entire concept is that the kohanim are not going to be sad. Remember, do kohanim eat an olah? No. An olah offering is completely consumed, completely burnt on the mizbeach. It's only chatat that they eat part of the chatat. Okay? So answers the Gemara, lo mi baya kamar. What does it mean, lo mi baya kamar? Lo mi baya olah, not only by an olah, the kalilhi, that it's completely consumed on the mizbeach, ela afilu chatat, na mivirim ne chatat. It's only the fats and the blood which is going on the mizbeach. V'idach, and the rest of it, the kohanim are going to eat. Afilu achi gazu, still they made a gezerah, shelo yomru, that they don't want to say mizbeach ochel gezelot. That the mizbeach is eating things which are stolen. Another question. So now we learned in the Mishnah. Al chatat gizula shelo noda berabim shi mechaperet. We said that if you have a chatat gizula which was not known to the public, it's going to be mechaperet. Why? I understand according to ula, it's going to be okay. Why? Because we don't want, right? He comes and he says this because he says that the takanat chachamim was to make kosher the chatat gizula that was known on the right? Because that's what he said. But according to Rabbi Yehuda, that he says the takanat was to be posel the chatat gizula. Should mean the exact opposite. The Tana should have said that Rabbi Yochanan and Guguda testified in Chatat Gizula that was known to the public, which is not mechaper because of Tikkun Mizbeach. Not the other way around, that if it was not known to the public that it is mechaper, he should have said that if it was known to the public, it's not mechaper. He should have flipped it. Says the Gemara, you're right. Lo nodea mechaperet, nodea ena mechaperet, Tikkun Mizbeach. If it wasn't known, it does atone. But if it wasn't known, it's not going to atone because of Tikkun Mizbeach, because we don't want people to say that the Mizbeach is eating things which are stolen. So that's what you have to actually add in to our Mishnah without having any problems. So Mativ Rava is going to ask the following question now. Ganav v'ikdish ve'achar כך tavach u'machar. Imagine a person comes and he steals a shoroseh, an ox or a sheep. He consecrates it, and then he's tavach machar. Remember, when you steal an item, you have to pay back kefil. Kefil is double. When you steal short of a seh, and then, which is an ox or a sheep,
4 or 5,
right? But you have to do tvicha or mechida. Right here it says you did the tvicha mechida.
What's that?
But which means you have to slaughter it and sell it. But over here you did a middle step in between. You consecrated it. So before the slaughtering and selling it, you consecrated it. What's the halacha now? Meshalem tashlum kefil, says halacha.
I never learned this.
You only paid double, but you do not pay back the 4 and 5. Right? Why? Because when you did the slaughtering and the selling, it already belonged to Hekdesh. So you don't pay back the 4 and 5. Meaning like this, if you stole any item, even if it's the sheep or the ox, you pay back double. If you slaughtered or sold the sheep or the ox, now you pay back the 4 or 5 times. Depends if it's the sheep or the ox, 4 or 5. However, though, if I did the middle step, which means I made it Hekdesh, I consecrated to the Bet HaMikdash, when you came and you slaughtered or sold it, it was not yours anymore. It already belonged to the Bet HaMikdash. So you don't pay back the 4 or 5 times. You only pay back the double. You only pay back the kefil. Okay? The Tanya La, so we learned, what happens if it happened that you came and you slaughtered the animal outside of the Azarav, the Bet HaMikdash? Anush karet, you're going to be punishable by karet. Why? Because now that you just consecrated it, if you came and you slaughtered it outside of Bet HaMikdash, it's karet. You're going to tell me now yush by itself does not acquire karet. Why? Why all of a sudden now does a person get karet? If yush doesn't acquire it was never yours. If it's never yours, how do you consecrate it? And if you didn't consecrate it, if you slaughtered it out of the Beit HaMikdash, why are you chayav karet? Everyone understood the following? One more time. If you consecrate something, it belongs to the HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It belongs to the Beit HaMikdash. If you slaughtered it outside of the Beit HaMikdash, you're chayav karet. Okay, fine. But 1 second. If you stole something, when does it become yours? So usually, no. So there's machloket. Is yush koneh or not koneh? If for sure there's going to be yush plus other things, meaning sometimes it happens even with shinui maaseh, shinui reshut, a change, whether it's of jurisdiction, a change in the action, like in the item, certain things like that. So when you make a change in something, sometimes it's yours. But here there's a machloket, is yush by itself, meaning giving up hope by itself. Do you acquire it or not? It's a machloket. This shita is holding the yush by itself, you do not acquire it. Because that's what we just said before. So the Gemara is asking 1 second. If right now, right, Richard, or not Richard, because Richard's a tzaddik, he's going to steal. John Doe comes and he steals from Richard. He steals from Richard. Richard, even if he gives up hope, yush by itself does not acquire. So therefore, does it belong to the John Doe?
No.
It doesn't belong to him. So now he came, he stole it. Technically, he has to pay back double. What happened is he consecrated it. And then he comes and he does shchita, right? He slaughters it or he sells it. Now, 1 second, exactly. Why in the world would he get karet? If the consecration is not good, why would he get karet? Now, why is the consecration not good? Because it doesn't belong to him. I cannot come and consecrate your thing. Imagine right now, I'm going to consecrate this tablet and I'm going to use it. You're going to tell me I'm Mila? I use Hekdesh. It's not mine. I can't consecrate something that's not mine. So says the Gemara, if yush is not koneh by itself, meaning Richard does not acquire the animal, how in the world does he consecrate it? And then if he slaughters it outside of there, he's chayav karet. Where the
John Doe?
John Doe. Sorry. John Doe. Right? How does that work? So says the Gemara, Amar Rav Shizbi, karet midivreim. You're right. Karet midirabbanan. So they started laughing at him. 1 minute, we're almost done with the Mishnah. Karet midivreim. Does there exist a concept of karet midirabbanan? Karet is doraita, comes from Shamayim. What does it mean karet midirabbanan? When does it work? Rabbi says, if such a great person says something, don't start laughing at him. We're talking about karet that comes through the words of the Rabbanan. The rabbis put it in his possession in order that she be chayav on it. Meaning, the rabbis made a special takara. It belongs to John Doe. You know why? In order, they have the power to make it belong to John Doe. So now he's chayav karet. But now it belongs to him. Now when he consecrates it, and he's now it belongs to him. Amar Rabbi says, Havadai kami ba'eli. That's a good question then. When the rabbis put it in his possession, Mishat Geneva or Mishat Ekdesh? Was it from the time that he stole or the time that he made it Ekdesh? My nafkamina, what's the nafkamina? Legizotea uvladotea. To the shearings of the wool or to the children that come from it. Right? Why? Because basically, when you're going to come and you're going to say it's going to be from the time of the Geneva until the time of Ekdesh, who does it belong to now, the shearing of the wool or the children? The original John Doe or the second guy? So, what's halacha? Rava said, it's more logical to say Mishat Ekdesha from the time of Ekdesh, Shelo Yechoten Iskar. So meaning like this: if in between the Geneva to the Ekdesh there was a child, it belongs to the original owner. If there was shearing of the wool, it belongs to the original owner. Why is it only coming from the Ekdesh? He comes and he says it only belongs to the Ekdesh, right? It's only from the Ekdesh onwards because we don't want the guy to gain from it. Meaning this guy just stole. We don't want him to gain. He just gained. Because if he just stole, and now you're going to say from the time of the Geneva, he benefits from it, what happens? So all the children, right, and all the shearings of the wool belong to him. We don't want that. We don't want him to gain. So if it's only from the time of the Ekdesh, doesn't belong to him. Okay? Mishnah, Nunheamul Bet. Okay? Lo haya sikrekon biuda baruge milchama. Right? But derech klal, if somebody is going to purchase money, right? Karka michol batel. What is the sikrekon? Sikrekon is a goy rotzeach. He's like a one of these guys. A criminal, right? So what happens? So the laws of the Sikakon, right, were not noheg, right, in Yehuda, barugei milchama, which means that when there was a gezerah kasha on Israel, right, to be killed during wars or different things like that, for example, during the time of Titus and Yerushalayim and Yehuda, right, but during that time, right, it was like, somebody that's buying a karka from the Sikakon, so he comes and he says, but rather from harugei milchama ve'elach, but rather from harugei milchama and onwards. So yesh ba Sikakon. From then onwards, there was the deans of Sikakon, which means that the Sikakon does not purchase the land, right? Why? So therefore, even if you're going to buy it from him, it's not considered buying. Meaning like this: you got some murderer that he comes and he takes the land. You cannot buy it from him, because if you buy it from him, it's not considered you bought it from him, because we all know that he stole it and that he didn't actually come and he didn't do anything. So Keitzad, what's the case? Lakach mi Sikakon. If you purchased the field from Sikakon, lechazar lakach. In balabait, and afterwards you went back to the balabait and you bought it from him. It's going to be batel. Why? He says because basically, right, you can't do anything. Meaning like this: the Sikakon, you bought it from him. Now you found out that originally belonged to the Mr. John Doe. If you're going to go to John Doe now and buy it from him, it's not considered a good sale. And the reason why is because the John Doe is only selling it to you because he knows that if he's going to get killed again by this Sikakon. So he just says, just here, take it. But the other way around, if he bought it from the balabait and then he bought it from the Sikakon, it's going to be okay. Why? Because since he bought it from the balabait first, he's not suspecting from the kas of the Sikakon. So therefore, it was done willing. Okay? Next. Okay? Lakach min ha'ish, v'chazar v'lakach min ha'isha. Imagine right now, you purchased a property from the man, right? And this property was mishu'abad, was subjugated to the ketubah of a woman.
Right.
And then you purchased it from the wife. So in such a case, micho batel, it's batel. Why? Because the woman cannot say afterwards she didn't have a kavanah, right? That she was just doing, she wanted to do nachat ruach to the husband, but really, be'emet, she didn't want to do this. But she was forced into it. But if he first purchases it from the wife and then from the husband, micho chayam, it's going to be okay. Zo mishnah rishona, this is the first mishnah. Bedin shalachrehem, which means this was the first psak.
For the good of society.
Yes, exactly. But then afterwards, Bedin shalachrehem said, halokech misikakon noten labalim ravia. You have to give them a fourth, right, of the value. And matai bizman shem biyadan, if they don't have, right, the yecholet to purchase it back from the sikakon. But if they do, they get the right of first refusal. Meaning that this sikakon already stole it from them. If they have the money, they have the first refusal, the right of first. That they have to come and they have to buy it back. If they don't have the money, this other guy will buy it, but then he has to give them.
It's his land.
Yeah, but
the
sikakon stole it from him. What is he supposed to do? Rabbi Yoshim Vedim when he knew, but then afterwards they went and they said, if it was in the land, if it was in the possession of the sikakon for 12 months, anybody that purchases it, they're zocher. But still, even after the takana, they still have to give a quarter to the baalim. You're right. This is very, very
strange.
Yeah, it's at the end of the day, I guess, in the olden days, because I guess it had to be for the good of service. If not, what are you going to do then? You understand? Like, what can you do?
Strange.
You understand? Fine. Says the Gemara, Hashta. Says the Gemara, Hashta baruge milchama. Now we're talking about haruge milchama lo haya besikrikon. Baruge milchama ve'elach yesh basikrikon. Afterwards, there is going to be sikrikon. What's what are you talking about then? For sure, the gzelat karka through the sikrikon was much more during the time of war. Meaning, when is there going to be more problems of these things? During times of war, not during times of peace. So what does that mean? So says Gemara Rav that says no, means that we don't have the judgments of sikrikon. Right? From that time onwards, that's when they have the judgments of sikrikon. To Amar Rabasi, it says Rabasi shlosh gezerot gazru. There are 3 different gezerot. Gezerah, this is during the time of Yerushalayim and Yehuda. Gezerah kamaita, the first gezerah was kol de lo katil liktiluhu. Anybody that finds a Jew and doesn't kill him will be killed himself.
Oh, my goodness.
Right? Mitziata, the second gezerah was kol de katil light arbazuze. Anybody that kills a Jew has to pay a knas of 4 zuz. But Traita, the last one was called the katil liktilinu. Anybody that kills a Jew will be killed. So therefore, Hilkach, Kamaito Metziata, during the first and second gezerot, Kevan the Katle, since the Sikakon didn't care about killing a Jew, Agav Onse Gamanu Makne. So in order to save himself from death, the Balabait would actually come and give him the land, like 100% agree to give him the land, in order that he would save himself
with a whole
from
heart.
death, right? But in the last case, he says, Amri, they said, the last case, since if anybody killed a Jew would be killed, he would let the goy take it. But why? Because he already has in his mind that what?
Law and order.
Law and order. That afterwards he's going to take him to court. He doesn't care. So Amr Rabbi Yochanan says, what does it mean in the pasuk? Asher adam mefached tamim. That fortunate is a person that he's always afraid. Umakshe libo yipol bera'ah. And a person that has a hard heart, right, will fall into bad. Akamtza bar kamtza chaviru v'Yushalayim. Look how min hashamayim this is. We're learning these gemarot bar kamtza right during the 3 weeks. Look how incredible this is. And this is tomorrow's daf, right? So during the 3 weeks, on kamtza bar kamtza, right, charu Yerushalayim. Tarnegol v'tarnegol t'charuv t'chul malaka. Tarnegol t'chul t'malaka. Ashaka derispak charu beitar. And on Ashaka derispak, right, which is basically the wall of a Mikev Nashim, which destroyed Beitat. Akamtza b'kamtza charu Yerushalayim. On kamtza b'kamtza, that was the destruction of Yerushalayim. Ta'u gavra, because there was a person, the Rachme, that his friend was kamtza. Ubal Dibaveh, and his enemy was Bar Kamsa. Right? The Marsha actually says that it could be a father and son, by the way. Right? But Avad Seudata, they made a Seuda, he made a wedding. Amal el Shames, he told his